Welcome to the Cruise TV Canada, the show where we focus on the stories and people behind some of the most amazing rides on the road. I'm your host, Stephanie Lastoria, and on this episode we are very excited to collaborate with a local travel business in Guelph, Ontario, Prince Adventures. Prince Adventures uniquely brings together the local car community along with travel to offer a one-of-a-kind driving experience. On this show, we'll be looking at 3 supercars that are all part of the Prince Adventures group. A 2015 Porsche 911 Turbo S, a 2019 Lamborghini Aventador, and a 2006 Ford GT40. Stay tuned, guys.
Hi, this is 2015 Porsche 911 Turbo S. It's a 991.1 series. I got this car about 2 years ago in May, so it's been 2 fun and amazing summers of driving. Why did I pick this car? Back when I was a younger kid, loved Will Smith as an actor. Bad Boys movie, the scene of Will driving the Porsche at the end in the big race. I always knew that the 911 Turbo S was one of the fastest street production vehicles, and I knew when I got older it had 2 back seats, so it would be easy to convince the wife at the time to go on board with it. Currently, no modifications to the car. It's sitting right now completely stock, looking at some options, but completely stock as we speak. What is my dream car? It's always been this 911 Turbo S. Right now I'm looking, it's not really an attainable goal, but if I was to say a dream, it would definitely be the Koenigsegg Agera 1-to-1. So back in 2015, I decided that I bought my first 2016 Shelby GT 350R, and that was kind of my first exotic car, my intro car into the community. And I kind of saw there was a little bit of a gap kind of locally. So when I bought that car, I decided, I wanted to find a way to kind of enjoy that car with people like-minded, like myself, that were kind of local to the area that we lived in Guelph at the time. So I decided I'd meet together with 3 of my friends, Jeremy, Ged, and Ray, and I kind of pitched the idea to them. I said, you know what do you guys think if I kicked off a little local exotic car community, called it Prince Adventures or something like that? And we were sitting in a bar in town, and they all kind of loved the idea. They thought it would be a fantastic thing to be able to do something like that, local to home. And from there, I kind of went out. My wife had a business at the time. It was a bakery in town, and she was doing some charity events through the bakery, and basically kicked off an event at the Delta in Guelph. It was going to be a food truck event. All the donations were going to go to a local charity at the time. So I said, hey, what if we bring exotic cars out? We kind of have our very first exotic car show here in town. It'd bring more people, which generate more donations for the charity at the time, and see how that goes. So we launched our first event. It was a great success. We had about 25 cars, great contribution to the charity. And it was right from that first moment that I could see that there was definitely an interest and a need in the area of people kind of wanting to do something. Through this whole period, I wanted to get my dream car, which was the 911 Turbo S. But for some reason, I kept stalling all the time. Part of that, it's a little bit of a price jump. Something kind of had to keep saving for, try to attain that. So I took the next leap out and kind of jumped up a little bit and put myself into a V10 manual R8. That was a 2010. Going back over time, still probably one of my favorite cars, just from the perspective of the V10 engine, the experience, the look, the sound. It had a GMG racing exhaust on it. Certainly an incredible experience to drive. But still, the passion was burning still to get the Porsche, the 911 Turbo S that we're here in today. So this is a big part of the reason why. So it's one of the craziest cars, just to hear the turbo spool, to feel that acceleration. My wife says this is the only car that we've ever had that you can actually feel it in your stomach when you're accelerating. So definitely one of the reasons why we want to own it. And this is actually the longest car I've ever owned. So that says something about Porsche and the brand. You know, it's something you can drive every single day. It's something you can take to the track. You can have as much fun with it as you want, and it never disappoints in any way. So a little bit more about myself. I basically was a millwright by trade, got into management, and kind of spent 25 years in the industrial construction sector, working in automotive. And you know, automotive's been a big part of my life since I was a kid, right through my career. So basically, I decided to take a bit of a shift about 2 years ago, and decided to join my wife Jackie in what is our travel business, Prince Adventures. I'm kind of really working hard to kind of marry both cars and travel together and create very unique experiences. So one of the things that we just did, it was kind of one of the last cancellations we had from the pandemic, was our Porsche Germany trip. All of our rallies and trips we call them Backroads Adventures. So there's Backroads of Blue, Muskoka, Backroads of Germany. So our Backroads of Germany was planned for 2020 originally. We had 20 different people, it was 10 couples. We sold it out in a week in the first time, and basically we had to cancel all that. So basically we put it back out, sold in a day, and then in September this year we took, it was 9 other amazing couples. We had such a fun group of people, and we basically went to Germany. We had a full, awesome, epic experience put together, and we cruised and rallied and hit all the amazing back roads. We did basically multiple stints on the Autobahn. So being able to experience the Autobahn and being able to see the unrestricted signs, and you know, be able to put the pedal to the floor, experience that type of driving experience, knowing that you're doing it safely, knowing that it's a legal experience. It's a really, really nice change versus the way kind of some things are here. You know, you really have to get it to the tracks locally to get the enjoyment of the cars. You can't really be doing those things on the road. So it was fun to be able to have that element added in, but also the travel aspect, seeing some of the mountain passes. We did 2 incredible mountain passes. It was just such an experience. Everyone loved it. Our survey feedback came back that we had 100% people enjoyed the experience. 100% of the people would do it again. 100% of the people would refer it to a friend, and they wouldn't change anything. So that was really humbling for us to hear as hosts and organizers. And it's put us in a place to realize that, you know, that there is a demand out there, and the passion that I have of bringing cars and travel together, being 2 of my biggest passions in life, is kind of the trajectory it's putting me on now moving forward into the future.
It's a 2019 Lamborghini Aventador. I've owned this car for 3 years now. I always dreamed of having the big boy Lamborghini, and once the opportunity came to get it, I jumped on it. To be honest with you, my dream car is the one that they haven't made yet. This was my dream car, and I have it until something else is made. So I grew up with cars my entire life. When I was younger, used to work on Porsche 911s actually with my dad. We started off with a 184 and then got a second one. And that was sort of my free time growing up, was get home from school, and if it wasn't at a sports practice of some nature or something, it was immediately start working on the car. And it was really trial by fire when it came to learning how to deal with cars, and that's really where I got my passion. It was not only just working on the car, but more so spending that time with my dad and working on it, and then reaping the rewards when you actually got that engine to fire up for the first time and take off. So I got into it at an early age. I probably would have been, early teens. And then after that, I got into racing, actually. So I started off with Formula Renault cars. Raced the Formula Renaults for a few years. It was great, but, growing up, I ended up getting fortunate enough to get a little bit of height to me, and weight doesn't really add well to an open wheel car, so got into the tin tops again and started racing Porsche 911s just for fun. So it was something that was always a passion to me, and then naturally life takes you in different directions, and ended up going away to university, starting my own company, having a family, and that's really where my passion for cars came back full circle. Having 2 daughters of my own, I really, really wanted to get into cars again because of that passion I had that with my dad, that it was something we could share together. So my eldest daughter, she loves cars. So I started off with my first car that I got for my 30th birthday was a 1994 Dodge Viper Gen 1. And it was as archaic as it sounds, no roof, no doors. But the day I got it, my daughter was probably just over a year old. And I still have that picture framed in my office to the day of her standing on that car seat and being that old where she was still teething and biting onto that steering wheel, knowing that that's where that passion is going to come from, and we're going to be able to grow it together. Fast forward a few years, I actually went from that one into my first Lamborghini, and Lamborghini is one of those things that I don't think there's a single kid in this world, if they love cars, that they don't look at a Lamborghini and just some sense of awe to them. And that was a 2007 Gallardo Spider that I got, and I fell in love with that car. It was amazing, it was loud. And that's really where my passion for Lamborghini really started to stem from, was having that first one. And it was such a fun car to drive. Got to spend a lot of time with my daughter, but at that point it was a car that there was nothing for us to work on. You sort of buy that car because you want to enjoy that car. So I ended up selling that car at that point and getting back into the Vipers. And the nice thing with the Vipers, going back to sort of my racing heritage, is the fact that with them, there's no driving aids, there's no ABS, no traction control, no power steering. It was you in the car. So whether you had it on the track or whether you just had it on the road, there was always something that you had to be aware of, and you had to really learn to drive that car. But because of the age of them, it gave us the opportunity to work on it. So my daughter and I would work on that car day in and day out, changing anything under the sun on it. And it was just a fun car to work on again. And at that point, that's really where I was fortunate enough with starting my company, that I was able to get started my own car collection. And I started off with the Gen 1 Viper and the Gallardo, and then extenuated into another Gen 5 Viper, and then another Gen 5 Viper, which went into the Gen 5 Viper ACR, which just a monster of a car. And that extenuated into, and now cars with just power. So it got into the Hellcats, to the point where now I still have the Ram TRX that we love working on and everything. So it was just really the passion for it. And a few years ago, I was really fortunate enough to get to the point where not only could I get back to another Lamborghini, but I always dreamed of having the big boy, the true big Lamborghini, the Aventador, the Countach, the Diablos. And this one became available for me, and immediately jumped on it. Had this one, like I said, for about 3 years now. One of the first things that I did to it was put the custom rims on it, just to let it stand out a little bit from other Lamborghinis when you see them on the road. I find there's something that you can definitely go pretty crazy when it comes to a Lamborghini, whether it be the color or any modifications. So, the next step is probably going to be a new exhaust for it. Just because no other reason than just to let it scream and sound like that F1 car that everybody's passionate about, to give you that 6.2 liter V12 sound that when you hear it a mile away, you instantly know what it is. But even going back about a year ago, I considered even selling this car, and the only thing that stopped me from selling it was actually my eldest daughter. That to her, this was now her passion. This was the car that she now has this desire and goals to be better in her life, so when she's old enough that she can afford the new version of this. So it's really, really cool to see that passion that started my career of cars with my dad come full circle to now where I have that passion with my daughter, and we can actually go out there and enjoy these cars. So it's been really, really cool to see over the years the progression of the cars, the progression of having that fun, that passion. And Jamie with the Prince Adventures has been fantastic to be able to foster that in an environment where all these different guys and girls from different walks of life have this one commonality and this one passion together, and we get to go out there and do it. And my daughter will come out with me time and time again, and she gets to see that camaraderie that we have amongst all these exotic car owners, really, that when you work hard in life, you can get these rewards. And you know, now we travel together and we have fun with the cars, and we really do get to explore those world aspects that come with just, you know, keeping your head down and working hard.
This is a 2006 Ford GT. I've had the car since May 2011. It is unmolested bone stock, just as God wanted her. Well, first and foremost, Ford dealer, so that certainly helps. I just love the car, how unique it was, you know, given the egregious amount of money that you're going to be spending, that you need to budget for a car like this. There's a lot of options available to you, some a lot more common, some a lot less common, and between being a Ford dealer and the fact that it's very passionate about the car and given its rarity, that's the choice I made. I'm going to refer to a dream car that I had as growing up, and because I grew up in the 80s, you know, the poster was always that justification for higher education poster, and within that was a you know, a V12 Ferrari Testarossa and a Porsche 930 Turbo, and I've been lucky enough to own one. I've owned many 911s. I have not owned a G-bodied 930 yet, so I guess that would be it. I think I would start by saying my name is Kevin Zimic. I have a car problem, and there's no 12-step program to help me. It started at a very young age. Neither of my parents were particularly into cars, very much a point A to point B transportation thing, and I can't explain how I got bit by it. I had a neighbor who drag raced, and that I found that I was really interested in the noises and sounds and the multi-sensory engagement with a car that drag races only, and I had a dog that chased cars. There you go. Those are my two main influences in car culture, from a young age. I have worked in all aspects of automotive. I started off, you know, drag racing, then I went to road racing, took a break, had some kids. I've gone back to road racing. I hold a professional driver's B license now, and that's how I spend summer and fall weekends. And I was recruited out of university to work for Ford Motor Company in production. I moved to their head office and worked for Ford Motor Company of Canada for 14 years and became a car dealer 14 years ago. And at a certain point, you just realize, it's in you. You can't explain why, and instead of fighting it, you just run at it or run into it and enjoy every minute of it. And I certainly have, and been blessed to be able to own a fair number of sports cars, exotic cars, and I don't own them for the flex. I don't own them for the oohs and ahs or the applause. I am just amazed by the craft, from the engineering and design right up to how they work well together. How the transmission, I prefer to shift the transmission on my own, like a lot of guys my age, and I just enjoy the multi-sensory visceral experience of mobility and velocity in a car. Can't get enough of it. The first, I guess, sports car that I'll say that I've got was when I was about 24 years of age. I picked up my first 911. It was a 1973 911E. The E stands for Einspritzung, which means centralized fuel injection, and that's when my love affair with Porsche began. A car that you can drive so comfortably as a daily, yet is so capable on a track. It's actually awe-inspiring, and it still has some form to it, like attractive form and design is remarkable. And from there, when I was 18 years of age, I worked an overtime shift after working multiple weekends during that period of time. And that last Sunday I was going to take off to enjoy, and I got asked to work. I took the shift, and I said that I was going to buy myself something that would be absolutely ridiculous for a student to buy. And so I bought a set of personalized plates which say LUV 4RE, which is Love Ferrari, which basically summed up how I have felt about cars for a long time. It wasn't until I was 52 that I got my first Ferrari. I'm lucky to own 7 of them now, and I love them all differently for different reasons, but I do appreciate all of them. I'm fortunate enough to be able to drive one, never mind own a number of them, and it is a thrilling thing to be able to wake up every day and have the option to do that, that's for sure. This particular Ford GT is a 2006 Ford GT, which is the first and only year that they were brought into Canada. This is a Canadian market car, despite the fact that the odometer runs in miles, as does the Speedo, and it goes good. And what I like about it is what you're enjoying right now is that it is a truly visceral experience. Not many cars you get in 2005 that only had, when I say only, had ABS. So no traction control, no launch control, not a lot of safety nannies to it. It is a visceral and raw experience. The Ricardo 5-speed, 6-speed transmission is great, and is actually easy to drive and relatively decent to see out of. Going forward, looking back is a whole other thing, but when you're driving a car like this, you don't spend a lot of time looking in your rearview mirror. There's a reason why it's 1/32nd the size of the windscreen. That's because it matters what's going on in front of you. And that's what I like driving about this car is that you drive the car. The engine is behind a plexiglass window right behind you. You can see it in the rearview mirror, and every direction through every sense is magical when you spend the time in the car. I'm just so fortunate and blessed to own one of the 299 copies that came into Canada in 2006, and I don't drive it a lot, but when I do, I prefer days like this on a quiet country road by myself, and it's almost an intimate moment with the car. I love it.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Cruise TV Canada. If you would like to feature your car on future episodes, please reach out to us on our Instagram. Until next time, I'm your host, Stephanie Lastoria, and we'll catch you cruising on the open roads.